What's up, guys? We are back again, and today we got Crusader. How you doing today, man?
Doing pretty good. How about you, man?
Not too bad, man. You got the branding behind you. You're already a little bit ahead of everybody else with the advertisement there.
You know, my dad's always been into like business and shit, so it just kind of runs in the family, I guess. Just try to make myself stand out a little bit with the branding, but
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Is
yeah.
he? Does he have any part in helping you with your career, like when it comes to promotion or anything like that, or it's more so you're just inspired by him or take stuff from him?
Um, I don't. He doesn't really have anything as far as like music involved with me. I think it's just because he has ran a couple businesses in the past. He's always taught me a lot about that, like learn how to market yourself and how to really showcase yourself in front of people because you don't want to give off like some bad impressions to people. So
Hmm.
that's kind of why I try to brand myself in a certain way. So,
Yeah.
but
And
yeah.
how is it with the parents? Are they supportive of what you're doing with music? Do they look at it as still a hobby for you, or they're like full into it?
I think when I first started off a couple of years ago, they weren't really looking at it as like something that could uh, like benefit me or make it as a career. But nowadays, especially after the big show we had back in May, they definitely see the vision and they definitely see like I have potential of like making it out here.
Yeah.
But
Okay. So tell me about that. So the big show in May, like what are you talking about there?
so so this show we had, it's called Dead on Arrival. It actually featured some of the, I guess, best local talent in Kansas City. It had me as the opener, and then we had artists like Curies, Ghost Rave, DK, and this hyper pop artist named Orv that we brought on too, kind of last minute, but and also Tiz as well. But
Hmm.
it was mostly kind of like a typical underground dark trap metal type show.
Yeah.
We actually got a great turnout. A lot of people showed up. It was a pretty fun show.
Yeah. Did you help to set it up, or was it just kind of like they called you on to get part of it, or?
It was actually so DK actually like invited us out here, and he was like, "Hey, you know, and since me and him are homies and stuff, he kind of like asked me first to kind of be a part of the show, and then we brought all the other artists on top of it. But we all helped each other like getting the show together, like making sure like we all got the visuals that we wanted, picking out the songs and kind of rehearsing it every now and then. But yeah, we all helped out each other for that show.
Okay. Is that like the because I know people from there have talked before. You guys do like the charity shows, right? Or this is a different thing.
This is a completely different thing. This is like our, I guess you would call like independent show,
Okay.
where we basically did everything by ourselves. But yeah, the charity things we don't really do that anymore. Me and DK were just kind of separated from them, just due to personal issues and all that stuff. But it was fun while it lasted. We did it for at least 6 months. But this year we just kind of decided to just do our own thing. And
That's cool though. You guys were able to like set it, like you were able to put it together, figure it out, get everybody. Like some people are way more developed in the game. They've been doing it forever, and they still can't put a show together because there's just too many conflicts of interest, or stuff gets stuck in the fray. So,
yeah, yeah.
so how was it? So obviously that wasn't your first time performing, but the first take me back to the first time that you did perform though. Like what was that like going from I assume making music in your bedroom to like oh shit, there's a crowd now.
Yeah, so the very first show was with that charity group called Beat the Competition. It was back in March of this year. And it was all right. It was kind of like an open mic type thing where you basically sign up, pay a little bit of money to play like three songs. And the songs I played, two of them was kind of like the me and the DK thing called Courtesy. I'm not sure if you remember that or not, but it's our little group deal. It's kind of like a mix of Suicide Boys, City Morgue type thing where when me and him collab, we go under the name of Courtesy.
Okay, yeah.
But so we performed songs like Death by Dishonor and Empty Grave. And then I performed my solo song called Second Chance. It's actually one of the very first songs I've ever written and produced. It was kind of more fitting into like that trap metal sounds, just to kind of keep the set the same, you know what I mean? But I mean, yeah, it wasn't too bad. I performed like in front of like 10 people.
10 people.
Those 10
Okay.
people, sorry. I was basically saying that like those 10 people that we were performing in front of, they're not really into that type of sound. We were pretty much like the outcast in that entire event.
Oh, okay.
They're more into like the R&B, like late 90s type rap. So when we performed like that trap metal stuff, it's kind of a shock to them.
Yeah. Was it like older people coming out, or was it like a younger audience?
I would say it was more of an older audience, people in like their, late 20s, early 30s.
Yeah, I could see that too because I feel like if people tried to perform like from where I'm from too, it would be all older people, and especially like trap metal would be the one of the hardest thing. Like even rap in general, they're gonna be like, "What is this?" But you guys just come out like yelling. They're probably like, "Whoa!" Like, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, we definitely scare a lot of people with that shit, so
Mhm.
it's definitely different for Kansas City at least, but obviously, it's kind of common in the underground scene, but
Yeah. So have you been able to kind of pick up a following though? Is that like so you played the first show and then obviously you keep popping out to that event? Do you eventually start to see like repeat fans being like, okay, like we haven't really seen this before? They're getting on board or
I would say with that crowd, I think we probably got like two fans out of that, maybe three. I think DK though, he got more of the benefit out of that. I think for me though, because I didn't really have music out at that time, I only
oh,
started like releasing music on a normal basis maybe like 2 months ago. So it was kind of after we separated from that group. That was when I started getting my own fan base. But really my fans all pretty much like 90% of my fans, they're all like outside of Kansas City, like they're all from like different states.
yeah.
I got a really like good fan base in like Phoenix, Arizona, in that area, but a couple other cities as well. But for the most part, like most of my fans are like outside of Kansas City, so
Yeah.
I don't really have that local fan base, but we're getting there.
I gotta say, it's interesting how much like it seems like Arizona is like the one state I keep hearing over and over again that like really, really latches on to trap metal. I wonder what it is like the societally there that makes them like just so angry that they like that type of music. You have any guess?
I really don't know what the guess is. I just know a bunch of like heavier bands are out of there, out of Phoenix, and in the Arizona state. So I don't know exactly like what started that. I think it's just one of those things where just a couple bands started doing it and just became super popular, and everyone else started doing it.
Hmm.
But I mean, yeah, it's just Phoenix, Arizona is definitely a great city to get your name out there, especially if you're into like heavy music and stuff. Uh, but yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's a great city for that type of music.
Any plans to try to get out there at any point or try to do some out of state type of shows, like get to tap in with that fan base that you do have on the wider world?
Yeah, I definitely want to at least go on a not like a big tour because obviously I'm not at that point yet, but definitely to the point where I am traveling around the country and stuff. Phoenix is definitely going to be one of those places I'm going to visit um, and try to get my name out there. But yeah, sure, at least to some type of tour, maybe with me and a couple other artists. But that'd be
Yeah.
definitely something I'm looking forward to.
So you said you only really just started releasing music in the past like couple months. So did you just really start off with like DK like just making only group music with him or did you have any prior stuff?
I had a couple songs out that I have released by myself. It's like songs like Jet Black, Second Chance, Broken Lens, all that stuff. And then I didn't release those songs up until this year, but I've made them like at least a year and a half ago.
Hmm.
Um, but I started releasing music publicly with DK and under the name Courtesy.
Okay.
That was really when I started like taking my career more seriously.
Okay. And do you who like inspires you? Like who kind of got you into well just music in general and then you can kind of tell me like who got you into trap metal.
So as a kid, I was always into music. I started off as like being like an EDM type kid. I always loved electronic music. Um, and I originally wanted to be like some type of DJ, you know what I mean? Like those European DJs that performs like those huge festivals and shit. But um, and then later on, I got into like heavy metal and like metalcore, deathcore type shit. And then right around 2015, 2016, I discovered SoundCloud, got into that rabbit hole. Started listening to like dark trap metal, and now we're up to this point. I kind of listen to like pretty much everything. I just get inspirations. Like really, what I would say my biggest inspirations up to this point, as far as like the underground scene. For sure, Sinister would probably be my biggest one.
Okay.
Uh, Harper. I used to be hugely inspired by Star Lord and shit, but I don't really listen to him anymore. Um, let's see. I mean, Night Lavelle, Suicide Boys, those type of artists. But for sure, the top three would definitely be Sinister, Harper, and then Suicide Boys.
Yeah. City Morgue at all, or is it kind of like at one point?
Nowadays, definitely not. But I mean, back then, yeah, I used to be into him a little bit, especially off their first album. I really loved the first album.
Hmm.
33rd Black Glass definitely was the one that really got me into City Morgue. Um, but I don't really listen to him like that anymore.
Yeah. I feel like we all like. I'm not sure about like with everybody, but like I feel like City Morgue was a lot of people's like introduction to trap metal. But as time goes, it's kind of like almost a McDonald's of trap metal. You like it gets you in the door, but then you're like, I want to try a different flavor. I want to try because it's like they just kept doing kind of the same thing over and over again. They switched it up a little bit, but by the time it's like this year, even it's like okay, like you know what I mean. You want to move on, so
Yeah, you don't want to be like so like into one artist or uh, just one artist in general. But like, yeah, you don't want to be falling into there and just constantly listening to them. Like for me, I like to listen to them and be like, okay, yeah, they're good, but I'm ready for like that next wave or like the next artist I'm gonna be listening to.
yeah.
Um,
I
but
definitely want
yeah,
to like. I'm interested to see like Sinister's influence on the game and stuff because it's like we've seen so many people inspired by City Morgue for so long, like coming in with the sharp teeth and like all that type of shit with it. So it's like I'm just what draws you to him so much? That's kind of what I'm interested in.
I think it was mostly because of his background. He played metal bands when he was younger. Before he went to the military, he was from I believe in the East Side, or sorry, the fuck California. He was from California, and down there they have like a lot of like heavier bands, I guess, and a lot of bands that are bigger now that he used to play with back then. Um, so I guess that's kind of why I resonated with him a lot more than I did with probably any other trap metal artist. But also, I really loved his aggressive style and kind of like how he was. To me, he was like the better version of 6ix9ine at the
Oh
time.
yeah, really?
Yeah, I liked him way more than 6ix9ine.
It's
Like, don't get me wrong, 6ix9ine's old music was decent, but I think Sinister did a way better job. And yeah, like all of his like first few albums, I definitely love him. I think for his newer style though, he's kind of falling more into like that new wave of funk, underground type stuff, in which I don't have a problem with. I think it's decent, but I just think that it's kind of oversaturated now to where I think I'm ready to hear like that next thing that Sinister is going to do, but I don't know what that new look is.
yeah.
Um,
I don't even know how
but
to feel about funk in general because it's like you said, it's like half of it is the most like overdone rap genre of all time, but at the same time, it's like it's also kind of dead. Like it's super weird because like all the emo rap, trap metal, everything kind of came off of funk, and then it seems like funk kind of got left behind, but it still seems oversaturated, which is it's like what any thoughts on that?
I think for funk, I think the reason it's kind of dead because I think we've overused it and we've oversaturated that market. I think like funk was cool from like 2020 to like maybe 2022, right? Like back when TikTok was really pushing that sound. I think social media in general really pushed that funk wave, and artists like let's see, like Sempra, for example. I think he was probably the best example of what funk would be in that modern funk music. But um, I just think that a lot of people were really trying to hop onto that trend that just kind of died off so fast because like it feels like every rapper now is like doing some type of funk. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And I think right around 2023, maybe up until this year, there's no point of doing it because a lot of artists tried to do it to boost their numbers up because the stuff that they were doing before just wasn't really working. And when they saw funk was really like going crazy, they tried to hop onto that bandwagon and the wheels fell off. You know what I mean? So there's just no point of trying to put it back together because it's not going to go anywhere.
yeah. That's actually
That's
kind
just
of
really how I see it.
Yeah, no, that's an interesting perspective too. With like, it's so funny for me because I remember like all the stuff that TikTok, like in the underground, like Suicide Boys and funk and all that stuff. That was always like kind of, I don't know how to explain it. Like that was always part of the underground, but it was never the most popular stuff. It was always the stuff that was like kind of veering off from that, like Peep and City Morgue. And then it's like all of a sudden when like the pandemic happened, like you said, and TikTok started blowing up, like all these like kind of side acts, because like now Suicide Boys are like the biggest artists in the whole world, but like for a long time they were kind of just like another underground act. So it's like it's weird. It's like almost like it came too soon or something. It was ahead of its time, and then this generation embraces it more than like the previous.
Yeah, I think it just came in too fast, and everybody was trying to digest it, and yeah, just and then it yeah came through so quick, and then it came out so quick to where I would say Suicide Boys would probably be the only group duo that can like do it still and still be good. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Because they've always kind of done stuff like that in the past, but I think especially with like their new album, I think I don't know. I think Suicide Boys definitely does the best job of like mixing funk with like the dark trap shit that they do.
Yeah.
Uh, but but I mean, yeah, they're the only group duo or the only artist in general that could really like market that and be successful at it. Because obviously, they already have a huge fan base, so just adding that on top of it just works for them.
Yeah. And when it comes to TikTok, have you like tried to implement that into your marketing strategy at all, or are you just kind of not for that?
Um, I use TikTok all the time. Like, I think that would probably be my biggest platform as far as like music, because on TikTok, there's a bunch of these people like reacting to music, like music reviewers type thing, and I'm usually active in that community. Like I don't react to music myself, but I
Mm.
do like hop in the chat and submit my music. And usually there's like an average about 20 to 50 people in every live stream that I go into, and just showcasing my music in front of those people. That definitely boosts my numbers up and definitely gets my name out there. And yeah, it definitely works. And obviously with posting on your own content and on your own channel and stuff helps as well. But yeah, definitely, when you're showcasing that in front of people, that definitely shines a spotlight on your name. So I would say TikTok's definitely a great platform to get your music on.
Yeah. So it's kind of like you're fully accepting of it, because I know for a while people are kind of like begrudgingly like, because you kind of have to do TikTok now, but some people are like, all right, I'll go on here, I'll do some TikTok shit, but I'm really not down for it. Like, but you're fully
Yes,
accepted.
I think as long as you're not doing like that cringy TikTok shit, I think it's still. I think you could be good at it. I think because obviously, I didn't like TikTok all the time. Like back when it first started popping off in like maybe 2019 or so, I just wasn't really a big fan of it at first. Because to me, all it was, because what I used to vision of TikTok was like just people dancing and shit, right?
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, and I think around maybe 2020, maybe 2021, I would say that was kind of when I started to accept TikTok more, and just seeing all these like unknown artists just blow up like that just because of like some video that was like maybe 10 seconds that
Hmm.
has millions of views, that definitely sparks up, and that definitely like puts a lot of people onto that artist. So to me, it's like if you market yourself right and you know how to post and you know what to post and stay consistent at it, I think that could definitely determine if you're gonna have a successful music career or not.
Yeah, it's because I see so many people like you said, it's not just dancing anymore. There's like more interesting stuff people can do. But then I see like people posting, like I don't have TikTok, I'm just on Instagram, but they post like the same video over and over and over again. But surprisingly, it ends up like really working out. Like it's the same video day in and day out, but like their followers start going up. It's kind of cool to see, because I always like tell artists that like it's really like daily grind. You can't just drop a song and then disappear for 2 months. Like you really, but dropping consistent music, like dropping a song every week, is also just going to become white noise. So now it's almost like the new meta is you drop a song and then you just like grind TikToks out of it for like 3 months and try to get the most out of that song and then leave that one behind and do another one. Yeah.
That's really the way of how do you promote your music nowadays. It's crazy.
Yeah. I wonder if there's going to be like a change at any point, like if they're going to change the algorithm on TikTok, or this is just the future music for like the foreseeable future. Like like Part of me kind of hopes, but
Yeah, I hope for something new, honestly, as far as like promoting your music. I think I've seen everything. I've seen the same video over and over again, but just with different artists, different name tag, I would say, But yeah, I'm honestly ready for it. I think I'm just waiting. We're just waiting for that somebody who is going to be super creative with it and show us something that hasn't been done before. But I think we've already done like almost everything now.
yeah.
It's just a matter of time until there's that one dude that does it and probably doesn't become successful for it. But for everyone else, they're going to hop on it and they're going to be really good at it. But
Oh yeah, always
uh,
for every successful act, there's always the one guy who did it first and just like, you know what I mean, like the cyber, like not that Bones isn't successful, but like Bones was like super early on SoundCloud rapper, and then everybody just came and like ran with it. So I don't know, yeah. No, go ahead.
no, I was about to say like even though Bones is not as like big as some of these other artists, I think he would still could be considered as someone legendary in the scene
Yeah, for
because
sure.
a lot of artists I've talked to, they always mention it.
Oh, one sec, you went
He
silent for
was
a
too.
sec.
Sorry, what?
I didn't hear the last part of what you said. Your mic went off for a sec.
Oh, my bad.
All good.
No, I was basically saying like how some of the artists I've talked to, they were like, yeah, Bones was a huge inspiration to him. Just being that legendary artist. And
Yeah.
it's not always about the numbers that defines if you're successful or not.
Yeah, that's one nice thing that I am seeing with the newer generation is that like even with all that kind of different part of the underground now blowing up, it's like people actually have more of an appreciation for those acts. Like for the longest time it was like I'm sure in 2017 if you had been like, "Yo, I'm a big Syringe fan," people would be like, "What? What are you talking?" Or like even Bones to an extent, you know what I mean? But now it's like people are finally being like, "Oh, this is inspired by," they're finally giving these people their flowers that have been around from like 2011, 2012, and it's like now a decade later it's like now we can appreciate them after not appreciating them for like 5 years, you know.
Yeah. I think kind of bringing up Sinister again. I think Sinister kind of falls into that a little bit because for a while when he first started off, in 2017 up until like maybe you know right around that TikTok funk wave came through, he was always kind of like that artist below everybody else.
Hmm.
He was just trying to find his sound at the time, just doing that trap metal stuff and stuff that City Morgue was doing. And by the time the funk wave came through, that was really when like people started respecting him more. But yeah, he was doing like that scream stuff on funk. He was the first guy to do it, and a lot of people were like, "Yeah, this is not funk. This is not it. This is not what funk sounds like." And then it took like maybe a year later, 2022, 2023, that was when people started respecting him a lot more, and now he has like almost 1 million monthly listeners.
That's crazy. Yeah, I didn't even realize that. I have heard, yeah, a lot more people. It's funny. I do hear his name mentioned. Like I was talking to another rap group too, and they're like, "Sinister's super dope." So he's doing some. I know I was talking to him a little bit, and he was like, "Yeah, I remember I was almost trying to do that 6ix9ine stuff back in the day, like with the antics and stuff, and like some of my music videos." But it seems like he's just like kind of coming to his own. He also I've talked to him. He's like super like fucking humble guy from like what I can tell. So he's not like a weirdo. Have you had any interactions with any artist you look up to and they just like good or bad?
Well, as far as like someone big, probably not. I think I've probably talked to Harper maybe once, and that was at one of the shows he had when he was performed with German Harper on his tour this year. Um, but I mean, other than that, I haven't really talked to anybody like that. I've always would like to talk to Sinister, like kind of like off DMs, like maybe in person,
Hmm.
just to kind of get that artist connection there. But no, I haven't really talked to any big artists like that yet.
Or even in DMs, like do you try to reach out to people and just like they kind of brush you off, or is it they like show love and they're like thanks for being a fan? Or
Um, a lot of times they just kind of brush me off, like I just get left undelivered, and they probably will never see my message again.
hmm.
Um, but I mean, yeah, I try to hit up big artists, just not even like trying to collab with them, not trying to like get something out of them, but just telling them like how much I appreciated what they did and how good their music was and how they inspired me to do what I do today. So it's just that's really what I do for the most part. But
Yeah. It's like I see both sides of it. It's got to be crappy because like I talk to the artists sometimes and they're like, man, I can't answer my DMs because it's like there's so many and it's just people asking for stuff over and over again. But then I talk to people who are like fans of them. It's like, man, they just seem like they're so like they're assholes. They won't answer me when I'm just trying to show love, and it's like, yeah, it's hard to be in between. I try to answer like all my shit, but yeah, sometimes people get like left in between. I guess when there's so many people reaching out to you. So
Yeah, like sometimes fans would like try to DM their favorite artist, be like, "Hey, I'm a big fan," and like they don't get a response, and then they get so pissed about it, and it's like, bro, like it's okay, like like it's not the end of the world. Like this is because they're ignoring you doesn't mean anything personal. You know what I mean? So it's just to me, I just if they don't respond back to me at all, I just brush it off and just move on. But,
yeah, and sometimes I think the reason for that too is they'll be like fans will be, I love you so much, and then you're like, well, thank you, and they're like, now is it possible I can get that? You know what I mean? Like that. It's like some people are being genuine, but some people are just like, yo, I love you so much, and then you're like, yo, thank you, and then they're like, oh, okay, now's my chance to pitch whatever. You know what I
yeah,
want? It's like I don't know. It's weird. It's business because a lot of people look at music as a hobby, but I guess eventually it does become some sort of a business, and then things get more complex, you know. So
yeah, yeah.
so you got anything else like planned on the way? Any mixtapes, music videos, future shows?
Uh, well, shows for sure. We got a upcoming show. Hopefully November. We're thinking the 23rd. It's going to be at the same venue we performed at the first time with Dead on Arrival. It's at the Westport Bowery down in Kansas City. We're probably going to lower the artists count and probably just bring it down from like 6 to maybe 4 artists. So I'm part of this group called God Eaters, which is like a KC collective full of artists like me, DK, Ghost Rave, a couple other artists. But we're thinking of just making that as like just our own show again. Maybe going under like the God Eaters show or something like that. But yeah, basically, Ghost Rave runs the entire thing. So he'll probably be the headliner for that show. He's going to be the guy running everything. But yeah, we're probably just gonna keep it to like that. We're not gonna have anybody open for us. We're not gonna have any extra artists. We're probably just gonna just keep it solo for that.
Yeah.
As far as like music though, I actually just dropped a song today called Chains with Ghost Rave. It's a kind of like a like old school trap metal sound, I guess, kind of like stuff you would hear in 2015. It's actually pretty cool.
Dope.
I do have a debut album dropping later this year. I'm like halfway done with it right now, but once it's all said and done, it's definitely going to be a great introduction to what I do as far as like music wise.
Yeah.
It's going to be a mix of like, dark trap metal, and a little bit of distorted trap metal. And yeah, I'm super excited for it. It's coming along great. And I think a lot of new people and a lot of people that I currently have as my fans, I think they're definitely going to like that. I think a lot of people in general, they're just definitely going to fuck with that. Just let's say my beginning era, but I'm excited.
Yeah, because I was actually going to ask you too. Like, I was curious if like you're even gonna drop a project, or if people even care about dropping projects anymore. Because I know sometimes it's like, I'm just gonna drop singles. Like when I drop a whole project, like people might not pay as much attention to like the middle songs. Or you like worry about that, or you're just like, nah, I just want to give them a full body of work.
Well, I think it depends, because like if you don't have a fan base at all, like maybe like 5 people listen to you, and that includes your family, right?
Yeah.
I think I think singles, that's all that matters, like just getting songs out. But I think once you kind of built up a big enough fan base, that's when a few month period waiting on like an album to drop, isn't it? That's where it could come in as like a successful album debut. I think, I don't have a big enough fan base for that yet, but I do want to show a bigger piece of work to everybody. And especially, I'm going to be performing like bigger when I perform. So instead of, performing like 5 minutes, I'm going to perform like maybe 30 minutes. And with the music I have out right now, I don't have enough to perform a 30-minute set. So
yeah.
With that album drop, it's definitely going to, cover that. But I don't know. I really do think it depends on the fan base. If you have a big enough fan base, then an album is definitely worth it. But if you only got like five people listening to your music, it's just really singles. Like it
Yeah.
doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter if you release them like every single day or once a week type thing. Like you just got to get music out at that
Yeah.
point.
True. Yeah, you don't want to. Yeah, you definitely don't want to come right out of the gate with like no singles at all. And you're just like, all right, here's a project, because people are gonna be like, what? Like you. Yeah, I see what you mean there. But you also need like basically touring music or show music now. Like, you know what I mean? Some shit that people can really chew on for a while. So that the plan? Like just kind of project, tour, like do shows, tour it around for a little bit, and then be like, all right, another project, or is it gonna be like you're not really thinking that far ahead?
Um, I would say for right now, just with my debut album coming out, I'm definitely going to promote that as much as I can. So at least 6 months at a time, I'll drop an album. So once I perform a few shows, that's when I'll probably take a break from that and just work on the next project, release that project, and then have the tour to promote that album and promote the new music. So that's kind of how I'm going to do it for a while. I might change it up every now and then, like release like a couple songs as like singles, but for the most part, I'm just gonna let the shows do the thing and have like new fans get introduced to me. I'm trying to trying to build up a local scene out here in Kansas City because, respectfully, it's kind of dead out here. There's not a whole lot of like great artists out here besides like us 5 artists out here. So we're really trying to revive that underground scene here.
Yeah.
Because really, the only artists from Kansas City that people know about would probably be like Tech Nine and shit. So we're trying to be those guys that are under him. So if you
Yeah.
don't know him, you probably know us type thing. So
Yeah, it's a good
that's
place
just
to
kind of
be.
yeah.
Yeah.
We're just trying to do it that way.
All right. So before we close it out, is there any shout outs? Like obviously your group, but anybody else? It doesn't even have to just be your buddies. Anybody in the scene you want to shout out?
Shout out to Kane, bro.
Yeah. You want to collab
I
with
haven't.
King?
I don't think he'll want to collab with my type of music, but if he hits me up, that'd be sick. But I forgot to mention him earlier, bro. Like I used to listen to King a lot, like kind of back in like 2019 or so.
Yeah.
The song he released called what is it called? Let Him Off. That was probably my favorite one he's made. But yeah, shout out to King, bro. Um, shout out to obviously DK, Ghost Rave, Furies, Tiz, Ghost Rave. Shout out to God Eaters. Shout out to Courtesy, and it's really all I got for shout outs, bro.
All right, for sure. Well, shout out to the scene, the Kansas scene, and I'm
Yeah.
hoping there'll be big things for you guys in the future. So yeah, if you guys are in the area, you're looking for some artists to listen to, head out to those shows. Let them bring it back. All right, man.
Sure.
Appreciate you.
All right, let's see.